Hey y'all. Um, let me start on a positive. A really, really positive for me. I don't know about anybody else. Because usually I say the norm, happy Thursday, happy B mix day. We already know all of that, right? Happy Earth Day. Okay. If you don't know, Benia loves, I told you I'm a modern day hippie, all about Mother Earth. I hope everybody recycled at least this week in honor of Earth Day today. So happy Earth Day. Because I'm not gonna be the Debbie Downer, but the realistic side steps in and you're like, well, so much going on as of right now. What is there to talk about? And not be so negative. But there's some high and lows. Looking at my list of things I just jotted down. I'm gonna just say there are some highs in there somewhere beside y'all on 420. That it's okay. Anywho, welcome and welcome back to another episode of the B Mix right here on BeExposedRadio.com. So I'll still say it anyway. Happy Thursday, happy B Mix Day. Again, happy Earth Day. I'm gonna get into some business because I really gotta roll through this thing and y'all gonna put it all together and why in a minute. So first and foremost, I'm gonna get to y'all know what I love to do. Share with you a history of racial injustice from EJI, Equal Justice Initiative, my favorite calendar. Side note, my dad, I told y'all I was ordering him one because he saw mine and wanted it. I was gonna hold it for Father's Day, which I still feel like I should have, even though it would have been half the year, but I gave it to him, y'all. I went ahead and gave it to him. So shout out to him. He now has his calendar that better be hung up. But I digress. Today is Thursday, April 22nd, 2021. So our history of racial injustice moment for today is from 1987, and the U.S. Supreme Court upholds the death penalty in the McCluskey versus Kemp case, despite proof it is racially biased, reasoning that racial discrimination in the criminal system is inevitable. I'm gonna let it sit for a second. I just wanted to, I know we say things and we know them, right? It's no news to us, right? But sometimes it has to be said and restated. Sometimes even for us, right? Sometimes for just a click, for it to click on the level that it needs to click, or whatever the case may be. So I'll read it again because I feel like for this week in particular, it really stands, right? So again, April 22nd, 1987, the U.S. Supreme Court upholds the death penalty in the McCluskey versus Kemp case, despite proof that it is racially biased, reasoning that racial discrimination in the criminal justice system is inevitable. If anybody would like to dispute that last statement, being that racial discrimination in the criminal justice system is inevitable, please, by show of hands. Anybody? Okay, I just want to count it out. Okay, very good. Because if you want to dispute that statement, by all means, I will want you to feel, again, we create a safe space here, right? So here's a reminder, or for a first time, for any first time viewers or listeners, that the B Mix is for everyone, right? It really is. It's for the unseen, the unheard, the forgotten, the overlooked, the misunderstood, whether it be the forgotten part of you or for the person that just does not belong anywhere, the me, hence the B Mix, right? And so I would want you, if you ever disagree with something, if it is an unpopular opinion, which we sometimes have here on the B Mix. I have unpopular opinions a lot of the times. I'll actually share one today that y'all will probably want to vote for me to be canceled, but it's okay. I'm gonna tell it like it is and what needs to be said. I'm gonna say it regardless. Because because that's what just needs to happen, right? We have to talk about things. Even if it is an unpopular opinion, we're not here to have popular opinions. We're here to have um, factual, rightful opinions. Um, and so, if you, by any means, again, dispute or want to dispute the statement that says the racial discrimination in the criminal justice system is inevitable, please again feel free to speak because we would like to digest that and unpack that together. So that way we learn. It's the only way we learn. I'm not here to shun anybody. Okay. So that's that. That's our little nugget to chew on in our history of racial injustice moment for this week. Okay. Um, let's how y'all feeling? let's decompress for a second. How are we feeling? Hmm? How we doing? How are we doing, y'all? Like for real. How are we doing? Anybody want to speak up on that? Anybody want to share with the class? I'll go. Not a problem. I'll go. I don't have any problem going. Why the mask, Benia? What's going on? Well, now that you asked. Here's one of the parts of what's probably gonna make my producer almost fall out of his chair. I just came back from urgent care and tested positive for COVID-19. Y'all pray my strength in the Lord, okay? I know. I know. Okay, that was not supposed to be a reaction to laugh, but I knew you would have a yes. I knew you would have a connection. So here I am. Thugging through. I definitely thought about leaving out high and dry to sleep. Not gonna lie, I was just wrapped up in all my blankets upstairs in my bed, just like nope. Well, not even a nope. It was just I don't know. Should I? I don't know. But what do we talk about a lot here on the BMix? I have shared with you all, just different things of like there's a blessing in the decision to either get over or the decision to press through or press forward, and to keep on and keep at the things that you know that you're supposed to do. And truthfully, what is it that would have stopped me from virtually viewing live, and doing my show, right? I had to ask myself that on my way down the steps. Truthfully, it took for me to get a message, and the normal, usual message. It was nothing out of the ordinary from my producer, and that was just like, okay, it's time for the show. So let me just go. I hadn't told him at all. That is why he just had to yell at me through the screen just now. I know. And the thing is, get it all out now because you're gonna hate me because I'm not. I'm definitely gonna shut. I'm like literally gonna close my computer as soon as we as soon as we do the outro. Like do click. So let's enjoy the time that we have together here now in the moment. We're gonna enjoy our time right now. We're gonna enjoy the present, right? Because that is what I choose to do, right? So again, here on the BMX, we talked a lot about embracing the moment, right? And it's like, we learn some lessons, and then we get to the present and it's enjoying and embracing that, and then making the best of that. So in order for you to make the best of it, you have to first acknowledge it, embrace it, and then you're able to, cook some things up in that moment in order to shift the next moments or moments to come in the right direction. And that's that's in hopes of, right? So, oh, sorry, I'm sharing.
I got questions.
Yes, go ahead, because I'm about to get all into it. Yeah.
All right, first, how are you feeling?
I am feeling okay. I'm feeling okay right now because I literally was just about to get into. I'm pretty sure, like for me, I would be like, well, what's the, how did it all? I'm about to get into all of that because I figured that's just what is right. Like if I'm gonna share it, let me share it. Y'all know how I go.
Right. Because then my next question was going to be, how did you? I mean, what made you go get tested?
Got you. I got you, baby. I love it. Thank you. So, okay. So here it is. So it's Thursday, right? So Tuesday, and I can't remember what time. I don't know if I woke up. I think I woke up with it. But it was a headache at that moment. Now, in retrospect, I know it's a migraine. But in that moment on Tuesday, I was just like, okay, headache. Mm, mm. Here's a little backdrop, little background. Cam, love you. That's my son, y'all. That's my son. Hey, Dad. My dad's watching. Um, and so I just talked you up, Daddy. By the way, I just said something about that. You better have your calendar hanging up. But yeah, so Tuesday, I have this headache, and I'm just like, okay. So a little backdrop about me is that I'm not one to like, I'm definitely not one to like jump for medicine. I might have mentioned it before. Forgive me if I'm repeating. Charge it to my headache, not my heart. Okay. So I don't really jump to medicine. I really, really, really prefer like natural remedies, home remedies, like some, all of that, organic. I just please. And so, if it's something like a headache, if ever you hear Benia say like, let me take an aspirin or let me take a something, it's probably pretty bad because I'm definitely a person that will just because I don't run to medicine, I'd rather thug it out. It's funny because now that I'm saying this out loud to you all, and I've said this before, so I don't know why it's just clicking out. But now that I'm saying it out loud with you all tonight is that it's funny that the reason that I don't run to medicine so quickly is because I have a still to date. I always thought it was when I was like much younger, but still to date, I have a very low tolerance for medicine. But apparently a very high tolerance for pain. I don't know. I don't know if there's any correlation with that. I'm getting there. I promise you. I promise. So, anywho, so I don't really jump to medicine. And so if you hear me like about to either if it's ever like, oh hey, I'm thinking about taking medicine for a headache, or I'm thinking about going in to, see somebody or something, it's a deal. And so Tuesday, like I said, um, headache goes on. I'm also feeling like as the day goes on, I'm feeling like lightheaded. Now, no dizziness. I do know the difference. No dizziness. Just very lightheaded for the most part. And because of course, I don't know if it's anybody else, but of course, if it's anything going with your head, my body feels weak. Like I just feel, I don't feel 100%. I'm that person that'll, go to the doctor and be like, look, something just ain't right. I don't know what ain't. It just ain't right. And so headache continues on, and then so it lingers over until yesterday's Wednesday, so until yesterday. And throughout the night from Tuesday to Wednesday, that's the first time I experienced like some type of like chills. TMI, but y'all gonna have to get over it because I told y'all I'm queen of TMI. Sleeping in clothes, that just ain't it's not. It's not. Baby, when I tell you, I think, yeah, I know for sure last night, but I think the Tuesday to Wednesday night, I slept in clothes, and usually, even if ever before, like if I would sleep in clothes, like I'm taking off something, especially can't sleep in socks. So if I go to sleep in socks, I'm definitely kicking those off in the middle of the night, pants, something like that, whatever. Um, and so I think I had like a little lighter clothes going to bed Tuesday to Wednesday. Um, and so that's the first time I started feeling like, like chills and stuff like that. Like, okay, what's going on, right? So I've checked my temp. It was pretty normal. The two temps that stick out though were the two of the highest. At some point there was a temp of 99.9. And so, I know the very next time I checked it, like I said, I checked it quite a bit, it was back normal. So I was like, okay, right. And so then, like I said, we're into Wednesday now. Yesterday, the headache still, I'm sorry, go back. So Tuesday, when I took like a nap, it was like a 3 hour nap. I think I was able to take 2 or 3 hour nap. And when I woke up, the headache was the exact same level. And that's what it was like, okay. So then, like I said, okay, throughout the night, there was some chills and all that. And so then Wednesday, I had to go and swap. I don't know if I told y'all 3 weeks ago now, almost a month, that I was rear-ended. And so I've had a rental for I don't know a week or so now. And so yesterday was finally the day. Just sometimes days can push back, whatever. So yes, it was finally the day that I had to go swap it out. Blah blah blah. So I had to go and do that, drive my daughter. And so I thought though, I was like maybe I'll call my mom or something and have her ride with me, just while I go out there. It's just because I didn't, but I definitely tried calling her on the way back from there, right? just because I was really going to stop by her house. Like, look, if I can just take a nap and just, without having to worry about my daughter, like if I could just lay down, I'll feel okay. And then we'll go home. Child called my mother. She was asleep and she was like, I'm asleep. Click. Okay. All right, sweetie. So once we finally made it home, that's when she was calling us back yesterday. Anywho, so last night we get in, early yesterday evening or whatever. So I considered going to urgent care then, but I was tired. And so I was just like, okay. And I didn't look up the time that they might have closed, but I figured it's like going on 5, I think, then yesterday. And I was like, they're probably, if not, they're closed, about to be, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Let me just get in there and just lie down for a minute. And so I think once I was back up, it was about 7. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're closed now because there's no time listed on the one that I always go to. So whatever. And all the other ones were about to close. And so I know that once I finally got into some sleep, go back again. Sorry, y'all, because it's coming to me in pieces. So Tuesday, go back. On Tuesday, I took, like I said, my tolerance for medicine is low. So I have in here like aspirin that are like 200, maybe a little over 200 milligrams. So literally, just taking one will knock me out. I still like non-drowsy and children's medicine puts me to sleep, like a horse tranquilizer. So that 200, when I say I had taken on Tuesday, I had taken 2 of those earlier in the afternoon. And then later on, much later on in the evening, my brother had brought me it's Excedrin extra strength that are also like 200 something. And it comes like in the little pack. So it's 2 in each pack. I took 2 packs, so 4 of them. That if it was under normal circumstances, I wouldn't wake up until next week. Like I'm telling you, I know that. And so that was really, really, really wild. That was definitely a trigger. Like, okay, this is a high red flag. Speaking of, hold on. Sorry, y'all. It's something that came to me. Um, so yeah, and so then, like I said, fast forward to, like I said, we was talking about yesterday. So then when I went to bed yesterday, I woke up at like 2 something in the morning. I kind of like passed out for real. Once I had enough like energy, like to get us from downstairs to upstairs, get us settled in bed. I like fell asleep for a few hours, woke up at like 2 something in the morning, and uh, when I got up, I think I checked my temp again. That was when my temperature was 100.4. And so dealing with chills, like on and off though, because it's like it could be when I'm like freezing and then I get a little warm. I know. My producer's going through it. I know. It's because I didn't have the energy to tell you twice, so I had to just tell it now. Forgive me. Um, I'm laughing, but I literally don't have the energy enough to like give my producer all the laughs that I have inside of me right now because I know he's going through it. But yeah, so I gotta stop laughing. But yeah, so I do that, and so I work through that, and I'm gonna come back to this part of the story and a little later on in the show. But child, I think I was able to finally like get back to sleep. Yeah, and then I woke up this morning. The plan was to go to urgent care first thing this morning, and I had to just get my energy enough to just feel like it. Like it was on top of just like a normal, like I just don't feel like it. Just thinking of like, oh, I gotta get, me dressed, get Sydney dressed, get, just make sure I got her, enough things or know enough and can recall enough to tell them everything. Like, that it was really it. Like I wasn't like fatigued or, like so down and so terribly weak because today at least waking up that my headache and still now is the best that it has been, right? Like it is truly the absolute best that has been because before, especially Tuesday, but even like early Wednesday, it was bad. Like it did not feel good just driving and driving my daughter and like around yesterday, right? And so thank God it was literally 2 and back. But which has been the case for me. So it's weird. And so here I am, like today I still was like, well, I want to get it checked out for many reasons. Like just because of everything that's going on, I wouldn't want to play about it. 2, so why I said I was going to go back to that part about the story, I said later on in the show, but might as well bring it up now, is that truthfully I was scheduled and was asked and accepted the invitation and was scheduled to preach this Sunday at our youth service. So I was like really excited about that. Honored, humbled. Couldn't believe, like I still just could not believe, like, yo, me, little old me, seriously. So I've been fasting all week for it. So, it had different things that it makes you think of, like, was it this? Was it that? Because I haven't had an appetite. But the fast, I still felt that, like I felt the difference, like from Monday, that was always the first day of a fast is the hardest. But then, Tuesday when I had the headache, I could tell like this isn't a I'm fasting headache, like this isn't what this is. And so and so fast forward to like as soon as I got received the official invitation and accepted it, then it's always like when I am given an assignment, spiritual assignment, like, God speaks to me, I get the notes like immediately, at least a bolt of it's really dependent on me. Like I get the word and it's dependent on me to really get, as many notes out as humanly possible. And I know I kind of stopped and I had like a little chunk of them left to really like massage through, but for the most part, I had them, right? And so here was last night when I was up in the wee hours of the morning and I got them through, y'all. I'm a part of my testimony, truthfully, and while I'm still working through, a part of my testimony is that I I'm telling you, I literally felt my body getting better as I continued through, like continued working through my notes, continued like I literally can't describe it. Like I just felt it lifting off of me. So while it still, is literally what it is, and I even went into, urgent care today, like still high on faith, like just knowing, like, I'm going to here to find out, and at the last minute I had to also remember that faith is knowing that whatever you find out, right? Whatever the doctors say, whatever things are, it's gonna be okay. Like so why I've cried some tears today, and that was really because if y'all don't know by now, I'm very sensitive about my daughter, like truly sensitive. Like that's my like that is my daughter. That is my, first pregnancy, first child, like all of that aside, got that right. But that's my dog. Like she's my man's for real. Like that's my man's. And so to know that I have to quarantine from her, because in speaking to the doctors, what they suggest is just that thank God. So my chest results, my chest x-rays are negative. Her results are negative. Let me say that. Thank God. Um, that I need to quarantine just for 10 days from um, the onset of my symptoms, which were as of Tuesday. I have literally made sure I've contacted anybody that I may have, come in contact with, which is very few people, but still, over the past like 2 weeks. Like I just make sure, hey, listen, and I'll probably get more into this, but y'all, it really felt like, and I've said this before, do not get me wrong, I've said this before, that it literally feels like, um, while I also don't know this side of the experience, like I don't know the side, but what I imagine, let me say that, it feels like what I imagine would be, if someone was to contract like HIV or, AIDS or something, or any STD and STI, I've had like to contact someone and say, because I have to make sure like how easily it is to just boop, 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 boop. Hey Nina. Like it's crazy. Like I made sure, anywhere. So Sydney got her hair done over the weekend. I think last week, yeah, I think it was last week, I got my hair done. I got my nails done. And I'm grateful because where I get my hair done, it's a suite. So it's one person, you know what I mean? Like two people, me and her. Where I get my nails done, a suite, me and her, Whereas I had been to the market, I think over the weekend or at the end of last week or something like that. Like, so that's the only other thing. In my mind, I feel like it's only right. Like I'll call the market, like, hey, I just want to let you know. Like, I don't know. Uh, but I do feel like when we were learning about, sex ed in high school, I don't know, some people maybe middle school. And I'll still never forget this one gentleman that talked about, he was like, yeah, even as soon as I found out that I had, I think it was AIDS. It might have been HIV. I can't remember which one. But he said as soon as he found out, he was like, he went on like a sexing spree, like just, and he's like, because he knew he was dying, so I think it was AIDS. That's the way he said it. He was like, because I knew I was dying, I would, once I was finished, I would roll over and be like, haha, yeah. So, you going too or something like crazy, right? And so when I think of like how the different examples of how people would not you know, inform other people that they come in contact with we're talking about sexually transmitted diseases, it makes me think of, how this should operate. I guess the same way we would hope that would operate. But look at, how many, we see girls and men and women really out here that are contracting STDs and STIs unbeknownst to them, because someone did not tell them, because someone may not have known themselves, or whatever the case may be. Just crazy. Like this is it's a spooky time to be in. So the moral of that segment is COVID is definitely real. It's not that this is a realization for me. I've always believed it and known it. My, like I just shared, my testing of the waters was the, going to a suite, and I mean here and there. I was not always, y'all have not always seen my scalp. Okay, so my roots have not always been, swiveled together. But here and there when I, kind of stepped out to get a hair done, a nail done type thing, which not the places I just doubt it. I really, if it was, I feel like it was a random, like a, I don't know, like going in and outside the market, or could have been the market or something like that. Like I highly doubt if there was any place that I have in mind. But of course, the unfortunate part is, like I said again, to comparison to the STDs and STIs, is you never know. For some people out there that have dealt with things like that you never know, and it's just to know that what you're left to deal with. So it's very unfortunate. I'll be honest, I'm not scared. Now that is what I'll speak to my faith. Y'all can call me crazy, y'all can call it irrational, y'all can call it whatever you want to call it. I'm telling you right now, my faith in God is ridiculous. You understand me? I am not afraid. Even if, and I can say this boldly, even if this was to be, you know, the thing to take me, I don't even want to give it that power, right? I really don't even give COVID that power of me, knowing how real it is. So it's twofold. You can absolutely understand that something, of this land within this world is real, but choose not to give it the power, the complete power over yourself, if you understand what I'm saying. It has taken people out, it has definitely killed people. Too many people to count, too many people and too many families, to have dealt with such a travesty. And I still refuse, to give it the power to be. And I want to explain it because I feel like I know what I'm saying, but I want to make sure y'all getting it. It's because I don't want to just just give up. Like I feel like when you give it the power, oh yeah, I got COVID, that's it. Like whereas I'm the person that's thought that before. So where I in the past I've had a cancer scare, right? And truthfully, and I've had it twice. I had a cancer scare twice. Let me be clear. And so the very first time I ever had a cancer scare, I literally just gave up the ghost in that moment. Like, oh God, I got the cancer. Like it was it. Like it was no fight, right? And so that's what I'm saying that I refuse to do. I refuse to give COVID the power to say, like, oh yeah, I got it. Oh, that's it. I mean, I plan to be smart, be vigilant. I've read all the instructions, listened to the doctors, asked the questions that I could possibly think of in the moment. Taking all precautions, gonna, take heed to just what I feel, what, I believe what'll do, and work best for me. But here I am. Here I am, still able to, live and breathe and tell y'all, the story in this time. I guess the true test is really to be able testament is to be able to come back to you in a week's time and, in time and time after that, to share with you, the updates and all of that. But here we are. So y'all, I told y'all a while ago I was here on this journey with me now. So this journey is just some things along the way. And now what I didn't think of, and sometimes it's just what happens that you don't think it'll happen to you until it happens to you, right? Um, COVID is now part of that journey, and I'm now looking forward to it being a part of like past journey, right? To be able to move past it, um, and so here we are. Here we are. Speaking of moving past, not that great of a transition, but that's what I did. Uh, I also resigned from my job, submitted my resignation, and so
What?
I know told you I had two of them for you. I told you I had no energy. Stop my head. So yeah. And y'all know I was already out on PTO and for the month of April. And so the remainder of my 2 weeks will be out on PTO. So here we are. So I have taken my leap of faith, and where we bring this into a spiritual aspect. Y'all know I'm gonna always do that. I'll wait till later when I make a spiritual like tied into spirituality. Y'all might hate me for it, but all I'm at least looking forward to it doing is invoking just a little juice in there somewhere. I just want y'all to think. That's all I'm asking you to do. But spiritually speaking, I feel like I'm being tested, right? With COVID. Okay, this is literally what I said to my sister earlier that happened to FaceTime me. And I feel like she was just calling just for no reason. I don't know. Maybe she had an inkling. I don't know. But so she calls me, and so we're kind of talking through a little bit. I had my but that was when I was just getting in the house and kind of just getting myself together. So I had my little meltdown a little bit. And again, it's really just about being away from Sydney for 10 days. Like, that's really what makes me sad. Like, that's my dog. Because even she had a breakdown. I started like explaining to her while we were at urgent care, like, hey, you're gonna have to be away from mommy for a little bit. And I mean, she boo-hoo. Oh my Lord. Like, it just broke my heart. But what I said to my sister was, I was like, I know the devil was like, let me get this girl COVID. Like, let me just, because she just won't. Like, she done took this leap of faith now. Like, she was, itchy about it and wasn't really trying to trust God. And so I had her. She was good. I kept the rope right there. She didn't house over the rope, climbed the rope, jumped off the top rope. Like, she done took this leap of faith that, she was scaring her to death almost at some point. And then she decided to release it. I'm coming back to that word, y'all, release it. And so, I really feel like it was the devil. Like, I got to sprinkle some. Even though, and again, while I know I just said what I said, right? So I'm smart and I get that, it takes for you to have come in contact with someone and contracted it. And then you start to show signs and symptoms, I think it said like 2 to 7 days, 2 to 5 days after even you've come in contact with it, right? I get all that, but I swear, just my brain, the way I get to think, because I do sometimes. But like, I legit feel like the devil's like, just on Tuesday, he was like, oh, let me sprinkle it on her right now. Like, just because I gotta stop her. She didn't took this leap of faith. She about to preach that, like, she, went ahead and just, not even that I'm about to preach as in like, oh, I'm about to preach, but as in I accepted, like, openly, just gave God a yes. Like, I keep just saying yes. Assignments come up, like, I'm smart about them. I, figure them out, but I started scaring myself a little bit, but still was going to press through and do it. And I guess the enemy was like, oh, no, baby. Oh, because when I say, the funny thing is, and I really don't want to get too deep into my message, but my message that I would have shared on Sunday, which I'm looking forward to, still sharing at some point, was about the fact that the enemy always makes time. He always makes time. Like, always. So the point of us being believers is that we always have to, like, we have to press on because the enemy's going to always make time. The thing is, we are the believers and we serve the one who made the time. Okay? So you got to press there. So me not feeling like it or me telling myself, that's what I really had to realize. That's how you make sure that you're in tune with yourself, that we always talk about, is that I was like, do I really not feel like it? Or is it that I'm telling myself that I don't feel like doing this show tonight just because of the news that I got? Like, which one is it? You know what I mean? And I knew what it was. I came in and took, two of those extra strength Excedrins. And I've read that it has some caffeine in it. Caffeine is not, oh Lord, it's not for me. I don't know if I told that before. Coffee. And so, I wonder if that's what is helping me, stay up a little bit right now. But still, like, I wasn't, ready to pass out or tired. When I came in, I know it was like in my feels. So I thought I was ready to lay down. But the most important thing was to figure out for Sydney, right? And so I'm grateful that both of my parents have, they've they've been vaccinated, right? And so the safest place, for her to go as far as for her and for whomever else she would be in contact with would be for them. So it was just it's tough. Like it's life is definitely rigorous, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. I'm so grateful because it really could be much worse. And my thing is, my faith is so crazy that even if it were to get much worse, God forbid, then that's just what it needs to be, and then we'll keep evaluating at each step at each point. The good thing is, even from Tuesday to Thursday, that I feel better. Like I have still like some chills. My temp is normal and regular. Like my blood for all of my everything was fine. Literally, they checked me out, all my vitals, everything was fine. It's just that I got COVID. Like what? Okay, okay then. So let's just work through that. So it's not to say again, just because I'm saying that, it doesn't mean anything to anyone who unfortunately, lost a battle with COVID at all. Remember, we talked about that. Just because I say I like purple doesn't mean, that pink is whack, right? And so here we are, right? And I choose to release the fear that I could possibly have, that one could possibly have, that anyone could have for having COVID. I refuse to hold on to it. I was talking to, oh, thanks, Lucy. Thank you. Um, I just refuse. I was talking to my sister in law earlier, and we talked about the fact of like people that will, have, you ever hear, what is it? I keep wanting to say pseudo pregnancies, but I think it's like pseudo illnesses or pseudo medical something something. So a pseudo pregnancy, of course, is like in your mind that you're pregnant, like you just know it. So it's like people, or I guess for the other reasons, I guess whatever the more general term is for other, like, I guess, pseudo diagnoses. I'm not sure, but just where in your mind, you're like I was talking about earlier, self diagnosis. Actually, I don't think I mentioned it. So let me go back. That at some point, because I don't want y'all to think that I'm not your normal average Joe. Definitely had some self diagnoses up in there. So with that headache, when I say that migraine was so horrible that at some point I diagnosed myself with a brain aneurysm. Now I'm not making light of it at all, but I just knew for sure that I had me a brain aneurysm up in here. Okay, then I was like, you know what, maybe not an aneurysm, just a tumor, just crazy, right? And then I was like, well, what is? Oh, because it was like with the chills, I was like, oh God, it's the blue monia, like just making up stuff, right? So then at the end of it, I was like, you know what? Because I had some symptoms of like some allergy symptoms, and I was like, you know what? Oh, I haven't been taking my allergy medicine, so let me do that. So I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe it's just sinuses. Um, Luce, I don't know how to answer that question. Quite a few people have asked me if I need anything. I'm gonna get better at that. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Lucy. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know. Um, but yeah, so like, but with when I was talking to my sister-in-law about like just people that have the thoughts are heavily so enthralled in your thoughts that it doesn't right. Okay. No, my producer makes me sick. That's okay. Sorry, it was a bad one. That was a bad one. I'm about to close the chat because I can't take it. I know I can't help but laugh. And that's why I tell y'all, in serious situations, or not even in serious situations, but in a situation where I have to do something and produce and be productive, do not make me laugh. Like, just don't say the funny thing that everybody's thinking, because I can't help it. I'm gonna be the person that's cracking up. But yeah, so um I we were talking about that, and so because my sister-in-law, was talking about, like, because that's why, like, I'm the person that I have the thoughts in mind, and I can't get over it. And I'm like, yeah, like I think that I don't know if that, I'll have to read up on it. I don't know if it's actually anything proven, but I know there has been talked about it. Like, I've read, I'm sure, articles about it here and there, where people that will have it in their minds, like, that you've at least added to, may not necessarily have made yourself sick, but I know that's kind of how we say it, because that's how I said it earlier. Tara. I was like, people that will have, thoughts in their mind, like, I have this, I got, oh, look, my hand hurt, I got the arthritis, because I've been that person before. And crazy. And so, it just makes things worse, because if it's in your mind, like that's what you're believing, because it's your mind. If you ain't believing your own thoughts, then I don't understand. So you don't want to put the wrong thoughts in your mind for you to believe. Isn't that the problem with people out here? Isn't that the issue with y'all folk out here? Y'all ain't think we was gonna get to it? Y'all ain't think we was gonna talk about the verdict? Y'all ain't think that, huh? Oh, okay. Y'all ain't think we was gonna talk about Ma'Khia Bryant? God rest her soul. Hmm? I mentioned him without saying his name. I think last week, 2 weeks ago. I think it was last week. Dante Wright. I can't even begin to list the names. Y'all think I was gonna talk about it? Isn't it the issue with these so-called? They're officers. I'm sorry, I was about to say so-called officers, but I'll stick to it. I'm gonna stick to what my thought was. These so-called officers, y'all don't think that's the issue? Here's the thing. So we can talk about y'all boy shirt. Not y'all boy at all. I'm sorry, because I don't think there's any of y'all out here that are claiming him. And even if you are, okay, right? That's your business. But Derek Chauvin, and this trial. So first and foremost, I want to be very honest that, and I might have said this before, I don't know. I'm gonna stop saying that because y'all just gonna get used to the fact that I'm just gonna repeat some things, okay? It's just gonna happen. Okay, thank you. I did not keep up, and it really just happened. And then once I realized that I hadn't tuned into it yet, I just kind of stuck with it. I had not kept up with the whole trial. Where I tuned in, and again, it was a just so happened. I swear, fate is crazy. Like God just be like, boop, boop, let me make her turn on the TV, boop, 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 boop. Like he's so meticulous. I love it. And so I just literally just so happened to turn on the TV for the closing arguments, right? And so I was like tuned into those. And little known Black History fact about me is that I had actually planned to study law at some point. Way back in the day when I did an internship at a law firm for a couple of years. I used to sit in on, on their cases, on their trials, and like would have to like take notes on their statements and all. And just, I mean, literally enjoyed everything about it. Honestly, only wanted to take up criminal law. It did something for me. Anywho. And I want so much so that I literally wanted to. If I mentioned this before, I don't know if I ever talked about it in this detail. That I actually wanted to try, both sides, being a defense attorney as well as a prosecutor, because eventually I wanted to become a judge. And then really the end goal was to go into politics at some point, but that was the ladder I wanted to take. Woo. No, no, God made that clear that was not my path. And so, but anywho, so I just enjoyed the arguments and debates and, statements and all that, those arguments, yada, yada, yada. And so tuning into that, was what that was, right? And so then we have the verdict. Okay. I'm going to say what I think a lot of us have either thought, still feel, might not have thought of yet, or at the least have every right to believe. That one, we as a Black and brown people should not have had to have held our breath yet again. Let me go back, actually. This, just like all of these other cases that have happened well before now, unfortunately to have to say this, any other cases to come, God forbid, but we have to be realistic, should not have happened. So that's the should. And I know we talked about getting should out of our vocabulary. Clearly, right along with you, I'm a work in progress. Okay. So back to that. So that just period, we should not be here. That's figuratively and literally. But, so these cases should not have happened. George Floyd absolutely should not have lost his life, especially not the way that he did. Period. Okay. And we know, more generally speaking, no one should be losing their lives at the hands of anyone else. If you can't make a life, and I'm talking about even as a mother, someone that we bear life, but I did not make a life. I bore a life. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I was, the vessel chosen to pass for this life to pass through me. and I'm very grateful. But I did not make this life, so I do not have the right. Y'all, I told y'all before, I know I'm getting out of saying it again, but listen, I literally just sign of the cross and like pray over roadkill. Like, listen, like, um, I, it's just we should not be okay with it. We just should not be. If you agree, how about this? How about this? If you agree, make sure that you share the show. If you agree that we should not be taking lives, and I mean it in any kind, um, call in and tell me how you feel. If you agree, I'm sorry, or disagree, that's okay too. Okay? Call in or text 443-642-9403. Again, 443-642-9403. Don't forget to share the show, like and share the show, and feel free to comment, text, or call. Because here we are that we have to, and I did say this, that I saw this post at some point that said, we know that the US is a failed state because here it is that we set for a 2.5 trial for a murder that we all witnessed. What happened to what's that? Oh my goodness. Back in them Salem days when they was the witch and all of them, they just are a killer. That's the now, I'm just saying I'll take no life. So I guess we could figure out some way, but it just should have been, oh, he did it. We saw it on the tape. Bet, send him to jail. That's what happened. Now we don't know how long it's going to be and all of that. So that's really what we, still unfortunately still have to, hold our breath for, is to find out how long, whatever his sentencing will be. But it took how long? I'm grateful. What I'm most surprised is that they allowed, the jury, to have such a quick, deliberation. Like, I'm so grateful because I knew literally as soon as I was like, okay, the jury is dismissed. Watch, they won't make them. Nope, stay in there a little. Oh, y'all got it. Y'all got the verdict. No. Well, you sure? Y'all want to stay in there a little longer. I just felt like that's what was fitting to happen. And that usually what happens. Like it's pretty. This is a good little while, right? And then we get back and be like, oh wow, so nothing. So it was like, oh, it's a quick yes. Okay, guilty on all charges. Okay, we held our breath. And then when I exhaled, I couldn't even have a full like sigh of relief. That was the issue, right? So problem number one was that we should not be here. That should not have happened. George Floyd should not have. It's a lot, right? Then problem number one, George Floyd should not have lost his life, especially not by the hands or the knee of Derek Chauvin, right? Problem number two is that we, as Black and Brown people, should not have had to have held our breath going into yet another trial where we witnessed the murder of someone that looks like us, that sounded like us, right? Yeah. Problem number three is that we should not have, been surprised at the outcome, right, of the verdict of guilty on all charges. We should not have been surprised by it. And problem number four is that then we should not feel like we still can't be relieved by the good news. Because my fear was, okay, now that we're here, okay, y'all gave us this, y'all tossed us a little bone. What are y'all gonna take in return? Like, what are you gonna take in receipt? Like, hey, remember that little bone we threw you? Remember that? Well, now it's this, now it's that. I don't know. Like, it's literally, you can't help but, and here it is, positive Patty Benia, right? As always, promoting positivity, promoting peace, advocating for it, right? Waiting for the other shoe to drop. Waiting for it. Oh my God, how many, what did they say? 3,000 National Guards stationed around the city. That makes my head throb. Like, for real. When they said that, I mean, that autorated, I don't know what words. I think I was putting already and automatically together. That didn't come out well. Like that already, had me at an unease. Like, okay, got National Guard there. They're preparing for, okay, got it. And we just didn't know. I guess they were preparing for the the not so, melanated folk to maybe, riot or something like that, sure. But all of those, we just should not, this should not have been our experience from beginning to date. Like it just should not be, because again, it's still on edge. We're at an unease. I'm grateful though. Here it is, because I try to still I should have started with something positive. I don't know, because in order for it to be constructive criticism, right? But just to add this in there, that I'm very grateful for our people though, that even just from my own timeline, from the national, media and all, is that it doesn't appear that the wool has been pulled over our eyes. I pray that we don't go back to sleep. Y'all see, we already quieted down and been quiet for a while, whereas there have been other cases. I'm not even gonna lie, when I heard of the Dante Wright murder, right, execution, that I just didn't know, for whatever reason, I didn't put it together that it was within the same city like that. And then when they were talking about it, when they were at the trial, and I think waiting on the verdict, and then put it together, like, yeah, just down the road, the next town over or something from where the courthouse was. I was like, oh my God, like it's too close, like too close for comfort. And it ain't even, like close physically to me still. It's close enough to me in spirit. Like that's enough for me. I know I'm a feeler, feel with my spirit, right? And so it's like, while I get that, I guess their goal and their overall objective is to keep us down. And while they, for as long as we, I guess, can possibly think of, that they've been doing a pretty good job at putting all efforts toward making that happen, we still have no choice but to keep pushing and pressing on and doing what it is that we know that we need to do. Because if, again, now let's go all the way back to the beginning of the BMX. Well, I don't think it was the beginning. No, that might be too far. Let's say the beginning of this year. I think really toward of last year, toward the end of 2020, when we were preparing for 2020, preparing for 2021, where I talked about the fact that if they were to come to us, right? So we in our black and brown house, right? They come knocking at our door and they ask, all right, look, even if it's not amends, we will make amends or whatever. Okay, we want a little peace, whatever. What are y'all list of demands? We talked about that we needed to be ready for that. We needed to convene as a people to be clear about what it is that we want, what it is that we need. Where is it? So we still have work to do. And that is what I'm proud of, that it seems that we all seem to be aware of that and understand. Now, what I have seen is the scale has tipped a little more to where there are a lot of people, posting and saying, justice has been served, justice for George Floyd. I think I can say this and mean every word that I'm saying right now. I'll never feel that way. I'll never feel that this was justice, even with guilty on all accounts. That's not enough. I don't know. I don't even know what would have been enough for me. I think that it rocks my spirit. It rocks my, like, every part of my intellect on how somebody can stand. And mind you, I just said that at some point I wanted to go into criminal law and try to be a defense attorney, all of that, right? So while I get it, still don't get it. We still live in a country that allows someone to stand and defend Derek Chauvin. Wild to me. That is wild. I feel like, if we talk about a reform as far as our overall, criminal justice system, that, that I don't know, because I know they would tip the scale, on our end, because it's just iffy on every part. If we try to change this, we know how they'll shift it and make it look for us. But just an idea is, that innocent until proven guilty thing. That's in this scenario, if we think about it, and I'll even remove the idea of like racial, right? Of race. So just the idea of that happening, that I feel like automatically it's like, oh no, you don't get no trial. You don't, like I was saying earlier, like the oh God, why am I thinking the Salem? It's some book that I'm trying to think of, but back in all of that time, where they would accuse somebody of being a witch, and it was just whatever, they chose. I'm not saying we off in nobody's head, we're not beheading or nothing like that. But it was, you go to jail and maybe you'll sit for some time and then maybe you can have a trial. I don't know. Just something like to have to sit through a 2.5 week trial, have these people, how many, over 40 witnesses, people crying and snotting and and his family has to, and then when even the judge mentioned that it's the jury, I think the judge or one of the analysts that spoke about it, like in between and then even after, that said, like, out of all, we had to keep replaying the videos and the parts of it and then to the full extent, but who probably saw the videos the most was the jury. Y'all know at the end of the day, what am I always trying to get to? Dealing with the mental. I am so concerned with the mental health of the United States of America. Don't we talk about the world too, but definitely the United States of America. Because when we talk about the people that touch that courtroom, everybody. And when I say everybody, here's where I'll just drop in my unpopular opinion, because I still am who I am. I am still a child of God, right? I'm still a firm Christ believer. And guess what? Let me explain to you one thing here. And now this is where I get it. Why you might be like, ooh, that's why I don't know about turning to Christ yet, because I don't know if I'm ready to do that. I get it in your time. But let me tell you what is responsibility on us as believers. Now all of this that I just said, right? I still do not and have not. I even make sure I haven't liked like any post that I saw, and over the past few days, that like celebrated, or I can't think of the word that I'm looking for, but like I'll just stick with celebrated like the fall and the demise of Derek Chauvin. I personally myself have prayed for his soul. I have. I have called his name out in prayer. I have. Now it's been like a while. I've said to God, I think the very first time I prayed was like, God, while I am praying for the family and all the loved ones and all of now the community and the viewers and the onlookers and bystanders surrounding, George Floyd and this entire case, Lord, I still bring to you the soul of Derek Chauvin. You got to do something about that. It's only you that can, Lord, because it ain't nobody on this earth that can switch and change and shift that up. Ain't nobody. I think I like foresee, y'all know how, I guess now I'm sure they're like old documentaries, but I guess us coming up, they're like the crazy murderous cases. Usually like the cases of like the people that killed their parents or something like that, and where they did like they finally got the interviews of the people, like, oh, we could finally, they finally wanted to tell us the story and this and the third. I feel like I foresee him being one of those. Like that'll be like one of those major things, I guess, that our children be like, Mom, what's this? So what's this case? What's that? We have to tell them about that. And maybe it's then, I don't know, but I hope God does some work on him, because that's how much I believe in him, that he can. Like all souls truly belong to him. Do I believe that Derek Chauvin was embodying the spirit of Jesus Christ at that moment, or has been? No, doubt it. Now, if he's smart, he done called on the name of Jesus at some point in recent time, okay, over the past year at the least, if he's smart. But yeah, I just want to be very honest that even in the Bible, it says that we are not to, celebrate and, partake in the fall and the demise of our enemy. Because if anything, God will then turn his wrath from who you're actually like, oh yeah, glad, yeah, and turn it away from them. And then you'd be mad like, dang, what? I know you lying. So if anything, now you want to talk about some sick, twisted, like psychological game, right? In my mind, it's like, okay, say if I was to hate you that much, that I'm gonna make sure that I pray your peace and pray your strength in the Lord, so that way God don't know, which he already knows, so it's known for it. But just follow me. That, like, listen, so God will know, like, oh, I pray, yeah, good for him, that's good, okay, I hope he's all right. But I really hope that's because God will still turn his wrath to you because I'm not doing it. I'm not seeking the revenge. I'm not hoping for your demise. I'm gonna let God deal with it. It's in that thing because again, God will deal with it. God will, fight battles and this, that, and the third, and all that he does. So it's not for us. So again, it's Bible for us not to, take part in, the demise of our enemy. It's just not for us to do. Like I'm pretty sure I've said this before, if not, that I'm the person that, believes like it once once you're my pet, like that's it. It's like, say if we've had such a horrible falling out or you've done me so wrongly, like that is it, you no longer, like you do not exist in my being, in my world, in my life. Like I may not have any, ill feelings towards you because I choose not to even give you any energy. So I don't give you the energy of, hatred, upsetness, any bad feeling or thought towards, like, no, you just no, just no. just no. You just and that has been enough. I have experienced that. That has been enough to, I guess, if you want to get back or whatever at somebody, like for them to realize, like, wow, so I just don't matter to you. No, no, you just no. I guess I can speak, but no, that's it. No, okay. Like you're just a human being over there. That's it. I pray for everybody in the world all the time, so I guess you're included. Okay. Be blessed. That's it. Like no. So that's an unpopular opinion. I know that's not so popular right now. Just let that, let that manifest a little bit. Let that just sit for a little bit. Because I need I need us all to be able to get to a good place of release, right? Release is such a powerful word. Okay. I'm gonna tell you, it's so powerful that literally, when I tell you that, what was it, a couple weeks ago where I was talking to y'all about aligning yourself and working on yourself so much and just reiterating why I talk so much about us working on ourselves as individuals. So that way we're in a place that we can hear clearly and directly from God, and be able to receive the message when we hear it. Because I feel like he's always talking to us, but you'd be like, I didn't hear that. I didn't know that. Prime example. It's just like how, say if you, say if you text someone and, and you'll say like, I text you. And so like a me, right? So say, let's take it off people. I can only speak for myself. So if somebody says, I text you, right? My response would be, I didn't get it. I didn't see it. Watch this. People will hear and think what they want to hear. And will hear and think what they want to hear and think. Because then, and so many times, my experience has been that people be like, well, I did. I sent it. I told you. Whoa, baby. You got yourself all wrapped up. I said I didn't see it. I didn't receive it. I never said, see, I choose my words carefully. I never said that you didn't send it. So I'm not, negating the fact that you've done your part, whether that's it or not. Because then when I feel like you get defensive, sometimes it could be because you really didn't, or that you did and you feel like you're right. So either way, it's fine. I'm not fighting that. Why am I giving that energy, right? So it's the same thing as far as, God is always talking to us. And then once we finally catch on, right? So thank God he will repeat it at some point. Can you imagine if God was to say what a lot of us say, like, he don't feel like repeating himself? Oh, my Lord, we'd be doomed, okay? Because I know he done brought a few lessons back for me. Amen? Like, woo, Lord. And then to wait until I catch it too? Oh, my Lord. Oh, God. So, yeah. So it's like, he's always speaking to us. And then, so, how we'll talk about like why we need to, certain things we're talking about and groups that we get into, and we'll keep having these conversations. Now, while I'm not a fan of roundabout conversation as far as, never getting to a resolve, at some point I want us to get to a resolve, but I also respect the fact that I respect and embrace the process that sometimes it takes for us to have, different circles, different areas where we're talking about some of the similar, topics and things in order for different folks to get it. We just need to get it. The way I refer to our oppressors is that, I don't know, I think with the lack of melanin in their skin, coincides with their lack of ability to connect the dots. I just feel like they can just never, when it comes to us, they just cannot connect the dots. They just do not get it. I don't want to say that I think they'll never get it, but I don't know, right? If I was to go off of what we see and what we've known. But so for us, like in order for us to get it, because we have the ability to get it and we need to get it, right? That's the whole point of, when they say once we get together, if we were to all unify, we'd be unstoppable, right? So then I have seen, because unfortunately, I'll say I understand. I'll use that word, that term very lightly. I understand that apparently, I think if I follow it with apparently, that eases it a little bit. I understand that apparently the case with Ma'Khia Bryant, rest her soul, is controversial. And I really only say that I understand that as in like I've seen it. I think that's the reason why I'm using that term, is that I've seen it. Or I'll just say that I see that. I don't know. I don't know which way is better to say. I see because I've seen, and I mean a bulk of comments, mostly if not all, from white people. Just totally against what's right, what could have been different about that scenario. A lot of them going in at some people screenshot it where she had the knife in her hand. They, picked fun at her mother, saying that Ma'Khia had, I think the term is a motherly nature about her. I mean, just so many different, just, oh God, disgusting. Like, just so nasty, so nasty. People make time. And this is why, like I said, my message for Sunday was really going to talk about, like, the enemy really takes time. He makes time. People really took time to write out all of these comments about a little girl that was slain. That's just it. At the end of the day, it's still wrong. It doesn't, because we can still stick by, if nothing else, we can still stick by that the police aren't supposed to kill guilty people either. Why? Because even though I talked about, being against it earlier, we still live in a state and society where we're guilty and, innocent until proven guilty. So even though, he, as far as I have seen, and it appears, is that when the police arrived on scene, that they witnessed, her having a deadly weapon. They, as far as the law is concerned, I don't know if it's federal law or at least in their state, that they are justified by applying deadly force because of what they witnessed when they arrived on scene. What are there different actions that should have and could have been taken? Because the question I always had, that I always have in all of these scenarios and cases, is, what about the word de-escalation? Is the police not, is that gone now? Was that never there? Because I swore it was in there. Aren't they supposed to de-escalate situations? So with all of that, and so much more that's just happening, because I still don't get away from the idea. I know how they love to bring up, all these black on black crimes, all the y'all are killing each other. Got it. And while a part of me does believe that the way that we act and the way that we treat ourselves, it's literally how we learn in kindergarten, right? Or just at home. We learn, like, how you, I don't know, how you behave or how you carry yourself, is what we're learning that as an adult, right? In relationships, what you'll allow is what, or how you treat yourself and what you think of yourself is what, people will think that you'll allow, and that how they'll treat you and things like that. So it is kind of that, that underlining message, unfortunately, that works against us, that what they believe, but it makes them want to only hone in on that is not all that there is to know about and to take away from, the Black and brown community. Like, that's not, as so much beauty, so much, richness, within our community, and us as a people. But unfortunately, there's so much of it, or enough of it, that it allows, people, outsiders, to want to just like, oh, they kill each other. So now they want to cry that we're doing it. Like I heard on the radio where they were talking about, I don't know who made the statement, um, but it was the statement of, well, I bet it would be different and they would care, or they won't start caring until it's the white children being killed. Bro, that's not the answer either. I don't want that either. I don't want anybody. Call me the hippie. I don't care. And then they had people calling in and like giving comments on that statement. And so I know one gentleman, Lord have mercy, he was like, well, no, it would have to be black cops killing white kids. Sir, I don't want to discuss the killing of kids, of children. I don't want to discuss the killing of anyone, like especially of killings that have not happened yet. Like nothing. I don't. I almost don't even want to discuss the ones that have happened because it's so unfortunate and should not be happening. And I know it's reality that they have happened and that they need to stop. That's like slash, like that they have happened slash, and they need to stop. We can't forget that part, right? So I don't want to focus energy on like, well, if we turn it on, I need us to release it. I need us to release it. Just like I choose to release the fear of my current condition of COVID, which it's crazy because I'm feeling much better than I had felt all day because I decided to, push through and sit here and do this. Y'all always make me better on a Thursday, even when I'm having a good Thursday. I want to say that. I appreciate you guys. Just like the word at church last week was literally for me. It helped me, it really solidified and helped to confirm my thought and plan going into, this week now, what was going to be the beginning of this week. I'm going into it to release, my assignment with work. Like I've been so at peace. And just in everything that I included in my letter was true to the T. And I made it simple and plain. But here we are. And then my executive director, she sent this very not so heartfelt email to announce my and someone else's like resignation. Two people that she's made horrible, just been horrible too, or been the worst with. She's been horrible with everybody. And so release, like it's such a blessing in release. This leap of faith, and I feel like it hasn't hit me yet, but it's like I think it's because it's been a continuation of the peace that I've had. Will I have to, be smart and be a little more, yes, yes, okay. Have I made sure that most, important things are taken care of and handled? Yes. I might have to take a hiatus from the show a little bit, y'all. I don't know. Like, if I'm missing a little bit, I'm gonna check in. I'm gonna post so that way y'all know it ain't COVID that took me. But I don't know. Like, I have to be, but I had to do it. I had to release. I had to do it. We as a people have to release the things that we don't have control over, and so that way we can focus our attention on what we can and do have control over, where we can make strides, where we can, make it leave an impact. When we talk about police reform, what does it actually look like? We can have some say so in that. We do actually. But what? So again, back to when we were talking about our list of demands, what are we talking about? What do we want in police reform? When we talk about training, has it ever been considered of mental health training? First, there's a training, because I'm actually certified in mental health first aid. I think the full title is like mental health first aid responders, but I know it's basically like first responders, So I think the training is actually called mental health first aid. There it is. And then the title is mental health first responders. There it is. My thing is, so I've seen someone else on my timeline post, and she actually broke down different scenarios that is beautifully written. And it's crazy to know that she's dealt with that, but beautifully written of just different scenarios that she's de-escalated, right? That she's handled, And as I'm not sure what her actual title, but long story short, dealing with mental health patients, right? I know one in particular. She said it was one minor, I believe, or just one person that burnt his house down with his mother, or attempted to set his house on fire. I'll say, I'm not gonna say burn it down, but set his house on fire with his mother in it because he believed that she was Jada Smith, and would not give him money. And so she's dealt with, a patient like that. Like, so in her question at the end of her post with all those different scenarios that she's de-escalated, was, are you saying that, mental health professionals are more inclined, or are trained, more vastly trained or something like that, than police officers? That should not be the case. Then merge the two. Okay? Train them in mental health. Like, because here's the thing. This is what I'm not understanding. Is it the fact that is it the fact that we just don't want to acknowledge mental health still, when there's been such a huge move and a huge, shift in it in recent time, right? Over the past few years or so. I don't think I can give it a decade yet, maybe 5 years. And I want to give it like 3. But, just to really see something moving, where there are a lot more posts, a lot more push, a lot more openness, which is a lot more, a longer way to go, but still, people talking about the need for, professional help, for therapy, for counseling, for people telling their stories, for people sharing, and this, that, and the third. Like, what is it, right? And so why haven't we considered that? Because I will say, and probably for some of you, but if not, I may be the only person that when I saw the video, and this was again in the closing arguments, where they showed, the fight. Of course, it was defense, so defense of Derek Chauvin. But when they showed the fight and the tussle with George Floyd, and the officers of even when they were just trying to get him into the vehicle, right? One of the major things that crossed my mind, right, and I mean ping pong back and forth in my mind, was around the idea that yes, he said he's claustrophobic, whether if it was true or not, because the issue with mental health, for what I say, in the past 3 years, we've seen some move, some shift. Before any other years before then, it's the, oh, you depressed, oh, you got anxiety, oh, like just washing it off, right? So do we not see that in our police, police departments, our policing system, nationwide? There's too much of a common denominator that, oh, he's claustrophobic. Literally, that could have really been the issue. And then, as I'm thinking about it, if you have said he's on drugs, if you said that in your mind as an officer, then he's saying he's claustrophobic. So those two, it's probably like his claustrophobia is probably at a max. And so you're saying, well, we're going to put the window down, because then the defense tried to say, because they said they were going to put the window down for him. Let me tell you, my experience when I would, again, because I've told y'all that I have literally experienced police brutality, where a white male officer beat my ass like a man. And I mean bad, right? Where it did all of the different tactics to, hurt me and inflict pain, but wouldn't show bruising. So when I went to the ER, they couldn't find anything, but I'm in horrific pain, right? And so with that, like, I know one of the thing, it was a long story, but and one of it is where it was cold. Yeah, it was in wintertime. It was like fall. It was late fall. And so it was cold. And so they said, well, we'll put the heat on or something. So I get us in a car and never cut. Like, it was crazy. Like, they had heat in the front. It was bananas. So where does he have to trust? Like, why not just, okay, let me put this window down now. Again, about humanity. Humanity is actually a possibility, even in the detainment of, a suspect. Even in the fact that that you are dead wrong when you really should have written him, with, I don't know if it was a warning, or they said they could have given him a citation or something for the for the false bill, I'm confused. Like, we know that we should not be here. We know that. So I know that we are exhausted. But guess what I need us to do? I need us to release the exhaustion. I need us to rest up and get back to it. Because it was so perfectly said that we have not, and even in this case, to date, we have not reached justice yet. Just, we've just, sorry, I lost my train of thought. We have just seen, or received a sample of accountability. And that's in my own interpretation. A sample of accountability. We have so much more, work to do towards justice. Because if it's not justice for all, justice for one ain't enough. Because it's barely justice. His daughter does not get her father back. She has smiling faces all day. She can sit on her uncle's, shoulders and say, "Daddy changed the world," smiling and beautiful. And, I think it was Little Baby and I forget who else. I forget his name. But they, they put together like for her birthday party and all that. Beautiful. That's lovely. That's lovely. Still, when she sees her daddy's face, sometimes when she goes to bed or when she wakes up, or as she walks throughout her life, I imagine, just like how, when we think of like presidents, right, and their daughters. So we think about when it was Bill Clinton's daughter. We think about even Sasha and Malia, just different, presidents, right? And their children and how they're on the spotlight. I think about for her, but not so in like a positive side, right? Because it wasn't so really positive for the president's kids either, because it'll be like, "Oh, look, she's smoking. Oh my goodness." Like, it's hyped to the 10th degree. But for her, like, say it, I don't know. And I'm not speaking as, or what if she grew up and she wanted to try stripping one day? Like, she wanted to get in, I don't know, she explored, different parts of her life, in a different way that people wouldn't necessarily agree with, that she has to live like, look at that, her father and change the world, but now look at this. Wow. Like, she really is about to live in a fishbowl for the rest of her life. So justice where? Where? That she's going to probably be taught to and feel like she has to be, to the tip top of everything. Say, I don't know, what if she comes across as not like, we know that the racists aren't announcing themselves. What if she ever comes across a racist teacher or professor one day? And, she fails that class or, and not doing so well. And I'm saying all this, God forbid, not speaking any of this on her, but just realistic, possibilities, that could happen that she's entitled to. Somebody can fail a class or not do so well, and do better. Like, I don't know, whatever. Like, it's just not like none of it is fair. And while we're working toward fairness, which definitely have a long way to go, that is why we just have to, we got to get back on the horse, man. Don't y'all dare go back to sleep. Don't you dare feel like it's okay to take this one and sleep, I was about to say sleep with it, but that sounds bad. To take this one and, sleep on it. And I don't want to be that Debbie Downer. I don't want to say that we can't, I don't even know. I don't know what word, because I don't even want to use the word celebrate. I would just use the word appreciate. I appreciate the fact that Derek Chauvin was held accountable and found guilty on all 3 charges, because I totally agree with him. While I believe there could be more charges, I feel like if it was a black man, because y'all know in Baltimore City alone, plenty of charges. They throw plenty of charges on you. Just stack them on, right? And you just got 3. They're big ones, but you could have got more. My opinion, whatever. So justice where? We're not there yet. So y'all take that off of this one. Don't give them that. Don't show them that we're so happy to see. If we were clear about our list of demands, I think we wouldn't have been so quick. Follow our actual, like, our community leaders and our activists, our heavy, our big time, like, community activists. Like, they're not jumping to call this justice. Not all of them. We shouldn't be. Take that off of this one, y'all. Don't show them that, you just toss a monkey a banana and he'll dance for you. I'm not dancing on this one. I'm not celebrating. I'm not. I'm not. I can't. And I won't. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's just like when we do something great, you know what I mean? And they make us feel like oh, okay, yay. Like you're like, dang, that's not enough. Now y'all toss us this one, it's not enough. Because what's finna come with it? What? What's about to come out of Dante Wright? What's about to come out of that? That's definitely another one that's ridiculous. Like all of them, but some of them worse than others. The problem is that I told y'all I have this innate ability to, remove myself and view things globally. So, whereas I could actually hear, this is again why it's good to work on ourselves so much that I can not only, like I said, to align ourselves, be able to hear from God and things, but even like on the surface to be able to hear and to listen for and hear, the things of, of this world and of the land that we, walk about and roam about, right? So the law of the land and just different things. So I'm in a place where I could actually hear, an attorney um, that is she has a lot of experience. I forget her name, but she has a lot of experience in, some cases, at least studying and working in cases like this, at least definitely she practiced law. And so she talked about the fact that again, that, they have the right to apply deadly force if they, witness a deadly weapon basically being used. Just in my words, so don't don't go with me. But like I could hear it. While I may not agree, but I could hear it, and it's unfortunate. And unfortunately, it just not unfortunately, but it's unfortunate, right? The whole scenario is unfortunate when we go back to Ma'Khia Bryant. And so why now we understand where there is a lot of need to revisit the idea of, teaching our young people about, teaching us within our own communities and our own, neighborhoods and on how to de-escalate situations. Because can you imagine the mental health, the strike to the mental health of all of those young ladies involved? I really, really, really wish Makai Ranks, I believe they came to her home. I really wish she had have decided to stay in the house and just let them taunt her from the outside of her home and not let that get her to the point where she came outside. She would at least still be alive today. I really wish that is one of the decisions that she made. And I understand the feeling of feeling like, oh no, I gotta go. Oh, not you came to my house. I'm disgusted that there are adults in that shot. I don't know if they were adults that were there for the whole scenario. Well, why are there adults nearby? Y'all, I could talk forever about that. I've never understood that whole, oh, it's the parents out here, they fighting and the kids, these neighborhood brawls, too. And that is another thing that we know that our oppressors, like I was talking about all those comments and all that they couldn't speak to. They don't know that feeling. So they speak into a whole idea. I get it though. I know I raised all up in these hoods, all of them. No, I don't appear to be, but definitely have been, right? So at least I have an idea of it, a good idea of it, can imagine, and they can't. And they, for whatever reason, feel the need to speak to a situation they can't, imagine, and they can't, see or speak to, or it's ridiculous of just where we are as a human race. I'm disgusted on all accounts. How about that? On all charges of disgust, I am guilty. Seriously. I want so much more for us, and it definitely starts with release. We got to release whatever it is that has us bound in our way of thinking, what's keeping us from, moving forward and pressing forward. So your homework before we get out of here, make a list of things that you know that you need to release. If it's forgiving yourself, hell, start with, things that may not be as close like to home, like in your home, in your community. Start with something wild. Like, I bet this will at least get your juices rolling. Start with something crazy on the list, like forgiving Derek Chauvin. I don't know. Because you mean to tell you're gonna walk around with that heavy on your heart like that? Why? Yeah, that's actually the thing about life. Supposed to learn to let these things go. Okay? Make a list of things that you're releasing. Share them with me next week. Peace.
What?